Have you ever felt like there's something more for you? A pull, a whisper, a dream, but you've been too scared to say it out loud? You're not alone. So many of us carry a quiet knowing inside that we're meant for more or maybe different. But fear, it keeps us silent. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of being too much or not enough. This episode is your invitation to stop hiding. I am Jodi Silverman, everyone, life coach, speaker, and your guide here at the Dare On with Jodi podcast. And today you'll meet somebody who dared to stop playing small and start living in full alignment with their gifts. Julie Kraus is a psychic medium, intuitive life coach, and my trusted spiritual advisor. Her story will move you, inspire you, and remind you of what's possible when you start listening to your inner knowing and say yes to the dream you've been carrying. And hey, if this conversation speaks to you, if it stirs something deep inside you, I want you to know you don't have to walk this journey alone. The very first cohort of the Dare On Circle membership launches in April, and it begins with Awaken, the first phase of the Dare journey. It's about reconnecting with your dreams, your purpose, your truth. The link to join is in the show notes. Check it out after the episode. But for now, take that deep breath and let's dive in. I am so excited to have Julie Kraus on the show. But before I dare and invite Julie to share her story, I just want to tee this conversation up. It's an important conversation. It's something that happened to me too. There's so many of us that I believe, and I know Julie's like nodding because she knows we're carrying around a dream, a pull or a knowing that there's something more we're meant to be doing or something different we're meant to be doing, but we don't say it out loud. And we don't say it out loud because of fear. We're scared. We're afraid of what other people might think. We're afraid, is it real? Like, could I really do that? Being judged, being wrong, all of that. I mean, mine was like, I really want to be a speaker. I'm like, who am I to be a speaker? So sometimes I think it's easier to convince ourselves to keep that dream hidden, that part of ourselves hidden. But today, you're here, Julie, to help us with this conversation and to share like what can happen when you stop hiding it, when you stop doing that, when you listen to what's calling you, that intuition inside of you, and you choose not to hide anymore. So I'm really, really excited that you're here. So we're going to introduce you to everybody in the Dare On with Jodi podcast community. Julie Kraus is my amazing spiritual advisor. And I'm going to let her take it from here, introduce yourself, and then share, what you did in a previous life and a little bit of the journey that led you to the spiritual advisor. And I'm going to let you tell the other parts of you as well.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Hello to everyone. I adore Jodi. It's an honor to be here. So I am Julie Kraus. I'm a spiritual advisor, and I always say under that umbrella. The reason why I say that is because I wear a couple of different hats. I'm a psychic, I'm a medium, an intuitive life coach, an investigator, and also a teacher. But I wasn't always that. Really, when we rewind all the way back, I was a personal trainer at first, and I owned my own gym, my own functional movement gym. And I was loving it. I felt like this was my realm, this is my calling, this is my passion. And then things started to feel unaligned. And the reason why they felt unaligned was because I knew and I was very educated on to help people with their nutrition and their exercise, but they weren't getting to their goals. They weren't obtaining optimal health. And I started to feel like I could rip my hair out. And I said, how else can I teach someone to squat and move their body? And so then I realized, wait a moment. Everyone is really using me not only as their personal trainer, but they also tell me all of their struggles and all of their triumphs. But they're also coming to me with anxiety and grief and beating themselves up. But I didn't really know how to hold that for them. I knew how to tell them how to squat.
Yeah.
So So I felt like I was more just like the yes person and holding all of their stories. And I said, I have to do something with this. What if there's a missing puzzle piece that can help them gain their goals, but with more of a mental and emotional support system behind
Mhm.
it? So I
Yeah.
went to life coaching school, and it was a holistic life coaching school that taught you about four different realms, which is the spiritual, the mental, emotional, and physical realm. And there in the spiritual realm, that really awakened all of my gifts because it
Mm.
pushed in my face, hey, Julie, remember that you have a faith inside of you. Remember that you do have these intuitive gifts from when you were young and you pushed it down because you were so far in business and trying to hold a gym. And so when I pulled in all of the four realms and really started to work on them and embody them myself and teach other people, they started not only to reach their goals physically, but they were happier emotionally and mentally. And then when I started to do that and I got deeper into it, I started to see their loved ones in the afterlife step in behind them during sessions.
Oh,
And I'm like,
wow.
wow, this is, yeah, wow,
Like
this is,
while they
this
were
is.
working out or while they were
So
coaching,
if
life
if
coaching.
people decided to do the life coaching package, which was working out with life coaching,
Okay.
and I would sit down with them to talk about what their needs and desires were, that's when it would come in. But
Just,
when they were working out, I would then all of a sudden get clarity that I wouldn't know of previously of how I could help them or what I could say. And here I realized I was channeling higher spirit. So,
oh my God, I love this. I love, so, okay. So we can start there, or because you mentioned when you were younger,
mhm.
can you share like, or take us back? Like, was that the moment that you realized? When was it the moment that you realized it was more than just intuition? Because we all have intuition, all of us have it. But what was that moment when you realized, well, this is more than that? Was
Right.
that when, well, I guess when spirit from the other side would come.
Yes, I did know then, but also when I was around 9 years old, my grandmother, who has intuitive gifts, she moved in with us. And I started to have dreams of my father's loved ones on the other side. And they did not live around me. They lived on, different parts of the United States. So I had more of a telephone relationship with my uncle and my grandfather. And when they passed, I would have dreams of them calling me or me physically hugging them. And they would give me messages to tell my dad.
Wow.
And I would wake up and my pillow would be drenched with tears. And I would dream all the time, but it would never be like that. And I could feel them wrapped up in all of my cells in my nervous system. It was so different. And I was 9 and I knew how different it was. So I'd run downstairs and tell my dad. And then my grandma would know, but she always knew that I had something larger. And so she was like my second mom. She took me under her wing and really taught me everything about the white light and psychic symbols and tarot and all of the beautiful stuff. So it was so great. I had a mentor and I knew that I was more connected. But my late teens and early 20s, and then when I opened the gym, it was like I didn't have time for that. It was like, I'm
Right,
too
right.
I'm too not that I'm too good for that, but who has time to think about all of that when you're thinking about boys and business and you know.
So
So
was this your father's mother?
yes,
Your
it's my
father.
father.
So you weren't, so you had, what a gift that, you knew your grandmother had this gift. It was talked about openly as a
Yes.
child. So you could run down and share of a dream like that.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
if I think back of, I am not a psychic, I am not a medium, but I have intuitive gifts. And I know that because we work together. But I also know that because during COVID, I started to get really curious about angels and spirit guides and intuition. And I realized that I had had some experiences that
Hmm.
I would never tell anybody about. I'm like, am
Right.
I crazy? Is something wrong? Like, that's weird. They're going to think I'm strange. Like, But it sounds so refreshing to me to think that you had this openness to talk about
Yes.
things that happened in a dream or a feeling or something like that.
My grandmom was, when we talk about the spiritual and emotional realm in particular, she was my home base. She
Mm.
was my number one. I would go straight to them. My parents were more like the mental and physical realm, and she was very much so the spiritual and the emotional. And I would just, I mean, beeline it straight to her. So I feel very blessed to be able to have to know at such a young age where to go and why and how. So, and she really instilled a lot of that in me, and she just felt like such a safe space. So, um,
Lucky to have that. It's really lucky to have it. So fast forward, you put that all aside, you push it away, you push it down, and you open your gym, but it comes back as you go through the life coaching. It sounds like you were really drawn to a really good life coaching program to have those four realms. And then, so what was that? Another, like that was like a daring moment going for life coaching. But what would you say would be the daring moment that allowed you to bring your gifts to the public outside of your, and you were doing it for your clients, but I'm talking about when did you shift from gym owner to Julie Kraus spiritual advisor? Like, and how did
mhm.
that feel? And were there those worries about being judged or being wrong, or like was the fear there for you as well?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. It was so in my face. It was staring me down. It was a slow burn, I'll tell you that much. Because when I'm working with my clients in the very beginning with intuitive life, well, at the time I just called it life coaching, I would even have a hard time being like, and we're going to look in the spiritual realm,
Yeah.
and I would shake a little and like
Yeah.
see how they would react, Um, but then when I realized that, oh wow, more people than I realize have something that they believe in,
Yes.
whether it is na you name it. More people than I realized had something. And that was comforting to me. And that made me lean in a little bit more. And then I realized, well, what if I could be that person that could tell people that it's okay to be loud and proud about it? And I felt like I was coming out of the psychic closet. I
Yeah.
really do. I remember one day when I was 28 years old, I just woke up and I said, and I was with who's now my husband, he was my boyfriend at the time. I said, I need to learn anything and everything about spirituality. And I know now that my soul had kind of almost signed a contract to say when Julie is 28 years old, she's going to wake up to want to slurp up everything she can about this. So I did, and I couldn't get my nose out of books about it or YouTube, and I just filled my life around it. And then one day I felt as though that I had to go to Barnes and Noble. I got a book, and it was called something about channeling. And I said, I can channel. I know I can. I have to go home and channel. So I told my husband to come home with me, and I started channeling that day. And I said, I have to show this side to myself. Now, channeling, there's different types of channeling. There's light, there's medium, and there's trance. Well, me, myself, and I decided I had to go all the ways and swing to the
Of course
trance.
you did.
Right.
I think you're an overachiever. You were an overachiever in your business, so why
Oh
not?
my gosh. And I'll tell you what, that was nerve-wracking because I could do it. And then because I knew I could do it, I knew that I had to help other people through it. But it doesn't look normal, like I'm just sitting here talking and I feel a loved one on the other side and I just tell you what they say. Trance channeling is different. It's when you close your eyes and you embody energy and you speak their voice.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was very different. And that's how I actually years ago started to present myself years and years ago. That's what I did first. And I thought, wow, people are going to think I'm crazy.
Hmm.
People are absolutely going to think I'm crazy. And I remember I didn't drink coffee at the time, but if I ever did, I would get such anxiety and I would call my mom and my sister on the phone. And they would have me, I would have them on the phone for hours and say, Am I nuts? Am I really doing this? Do you think I'm crazy? Should I tell other people that I do this? And they just said, There's no way that you could know this information and make it up. And so I said, You know what? They're right. There's no way that I could be asked quantum healing physicist questions and know the answers myself because I don't know that. This
Right.
is real. I have to trust myself. And so I just started putting myself out there, and it was very scary, not to put myself in front of strangers. It was more scary to tell the people, like my friends and my colleagues, that now
Yes.
all of a sudden this is who I am.
Julie, oh my God. So I thank you for sharing that. And yes, to what you just said about strangers versus your friends. So when I started, was the pandemic, did that start? Was that 2020?
You just before I think.
Right. Well, I have to tell you something really cool, and I'm going to tell you what happened. Before the pandemic, no, it was after the pandemic. It was in 2020, which was 5 years ago. Guess how old I was?
Oh, I have no idea.
44.
What?
What's my angel number?
A 44.
Anyway, that's an
I would
inside
have
thing,
known
everybody. Sorry, we're taking it inside.
that.
But
Yeah.
look up angel numbers. We'll talk about that another time. But I have to share with you about that. I was before the pandemic, I was asked by another community, the community leader said, Jody, will you come in and like talk about angel cards, like how you use them? Because I was really just starting to use them. She goes, I don't want an expert. I want you, somebody who's just starting to use them. Why do you use them? What did we learn? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I would love to. And so I went and I did a Facebook Live. And I don't know how it got shared publicly, but it got shared or I shared it. My best friend calls me up. Literally, I answer the phone and she goes, Angels? She was like, when did you start believing it? Because I was scared to tell anybody near me that I was woo,
Yeah.
like there was something wrong with it. Now I embrace it. But I get that. It's sometimes it's so much most of the time, it's so much easier to tell a complete stranger your dreams, your goals, your gifts, or something because they don't have any other view of you other than what you're sharing with them.
It's so
So
true.
I
And
get that.
I'll tell you what, to this day, I still haven't my Instagram account. I barely told any of my friends or family members that I had it. And I said, I am going to build this account solely on people who are attracted to this energy.
I love
And
that.
that's what I'm continuing to do. And if my friends and family are interested in it, then they can join. But I'm leaving that up to them.
So, okay. You've been practicing as a spiritual advisor, psychic medium. That has been your core business for how long now?
Just about 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
How did it feel when you finally started to embrace your gifts? I mean, to tell that woman who's sitting here thinking, and this isn't about being a psychic. This is about having a dream, having natural gifts and talents that you want to use in a certain way, but fear and doubt is keeping you hidden. Because I
Hmm.
don't want that. In midlife, we're like halfway
Yeah.
possibly through our life. Don't you want to like live it in your, and I'm not saying that to shame anybody. I kept it a secret for a long time, but I wanted to be a public speaker. Well, you
Hmm.
know what? I want to be a public speaker, and there's so many reasons why. There's nothing better than when
Hmm.
somebody walks up to you and says, when you said this, it did this for me. You're like, oh my God. Because that's what people speakers do for me. So I forgot my question I asked you.
No, well, so what would I tell people how to face their fears and just do it
Yes.
if they feel that there's a calling inside of them?
Yeah.
You know, that is your heart. That is
Mm.
your heart speaking. When you feel a purpose, when you feel driven to do something, your heart is connected to your authenticity. It's connected to your soul, which has your highest wisdom, which you embody. And when you feel that whisper and that tug, it's never going to scream at you. It's never going to hit you over the head with a frying pan, but it's going to gently say, Hey, I'm here to support you when you want, because that's how love speaks. It never forces. And when we keep feeling that tug and we keep feeling the nudge and hearing the whisper and it keeps coming back to us, that's a clue that we should really listen to it. However, when we don't listen to that nudge over
Mhm.
and over and over again, our life is going to get very loud. Our anxiety, our fear, maybe some anger. We're going to feel some lower vibrational emotions, and they are going to get very loud because they are saying, you aren't listening to your purpose. You aren't listening to your heart, your mission, and your authenticity. And if you look at your life, if you zoom out and you look at your life, you're going to say, how did I get here? This
Yeah,
doesn't feel like me. And so, how can we get back on track? It's every day taking one small step in the right direction by listening to your heart.
I love that. The heart, you say the heart is a portal to all that is. You say that all the time. Did I say that right? Quote unquote.
Yes, that
And
makes
you
sense.
know what is I just read something else recently about the heart. It's everything. We have an electric magnetic field around
Yeah,
our heart. Everything is energy. So I love how you said that. So I know what I wanted to ask you before we got into that, but that was really great advice. Because if you don't listen to your heart, it's going to get louder.
yeah.
And it brings up those, what you call the low vibrational energy emotion, the low vibrational emotions. It's also spoken about when I speak about my happy for no reason. When I do my keynote for that, we talk about the two energies in the world, contraction and expansion.
Mm,
Expansion of the high vibrational emotions that keep
yeah,
you in a state of expansion, open your heart, and the contraction are those low vibrational emotions you're talking about, anger, stress, shame, doubt. They keep you contracted and keep your heart closed. And that starts to get really heavy, really
mm,
heavy. So
yeah,
the goal is to, like you said, if you can take one little step towards what you want, tell one person each day for the next 5 days what your dream is.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, not only will your heart open, but you know that
Mhm.
the universe is going to bring somebody or an opportunity in front of you that will make that dream closer to reality.
Absolutely. And I love that you said tell one person every day, your words are your wand.
Yeah.
And so
Oh, I love
your words are your wand. Matt Frazier once said that, and I thought that that was so brilliant.
I
And
love
that
that.
really means that when you speak, our words have incantations. They're like spells in a way. They really, what we put out is what we attract back, and our words are magnets.
I
So
love
true.
that. I
Hmm.
love that. So there was, I know my life is full of daring moments. If I
Hmm.
wrote all the daring moments, and a daring moment is something when you took that leap of faith, when you took that step, when you took action towards something that you were scared of or doubted and worried about failure, you did it anyway. I believe I was present for one of your daring moments, and you started a community called Our Sacred Space,
Hmm.
and I'm part of that community still today. And it was sometime within the first year of me being part of your community that you sent an email out saying that you were going to change the name
Hmm.
of your company. I think it was, I don't know if it was oursacredspace.com or if it was just Julie Kraus. But you shared, I don't know the words, but to paraphrase, I remember the email stuck with me because you shared that this has been something you've been feeling for a long time and you're ready to put it out there in the world, and you unveiled the new name of your company,
Yes.
which is
Yeah, Julie Kraus, spiritual advisor. So my company name before was Spiro. It's
that's right.
Spiro. And that was Latin for I breathe. That is on my family shield. And we have my dad and my sister and I have Dumb Spiro Sparrow, which is while I breathe, I hope. And I said to myself, I always wanted to have a business named Spiro, I breathe, because it's such a beautiful mantra. You're breathing, you're alive, you're daring, dare on, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they're on.
yeah.
Oh, say it.
Yeah. And I loved it, and it felt like it had such energy from the other side. And it felt calm to my nervous system. And I needed something calm to my nervous system when I was walking out of the psychic and mediumship closet. I needed something like that. So that was really my safety net.
Hmm.
But when I felt as though that I am strong in who I am, I believe in who I am, I know how I serve. I'm ready to lead with my full name now. And when people go onto my website or Instagram handle, it's like, what the heck is Spiro? You know? And
Yeah.
so I'm like, I am ready to just embody it fully. And so, I'll never forget my one friend said to me one day, he's like, "You're like my spiritual advisor." And that stuck with me. And I said, wait a minute. So, Julie Kraus, spiritual advisor.
I know, I love it. And it's so, all of us were very excited about it. When I read it, I'm like, yes,
Oh,
yes. I was like doing a little cheerlead for you. I'm like, that's great. That is a good thing. It's like when you dare to know that it's time to shift and put it out there. And now everyone knows exactly who you are and what you do. Super
yeah,
clear.
thank you.
Highly recommend reaching out to Julie. Absolutely, I do. All right. So, we already talked about if somebody's listening and, just taking that first step and, open your heart and tell somebody and take a first step. All of that is great. And I really hope that you're listening, that you know that your dreams are yours and they matter.
Mhm.
Before I get to that, the two final questions, which one we didn't talk about before. So if you get stuck, you won't get stuck. You'll just listen to your intuition. Mira, I just put that pressure on you. Um, I usually end by asking my guests, living your best life is such a big statement.
Yeah.
But before I ask you what living your best life means for you,
Mhm.
and then maybe we'll leave a dare for the audience, the listeners, is there anything else you want to share about, living in your truth and following your heart and going for your dreams? Is there anything else, or has everything been said?
I think it's really important to set up an internal and external sacred space around you when it comes to living authentically with your heart. The internal spaces, I know for me to not do things that bring through anxiety. Like, why would I have coffee? Because that is something that brought me so much anxiety. I had to go outside of myself to hear the truth,
Okay.
right? I know who I am, I know how I serve, and I can't leave my sacred space. Keep doing the things that feel good and strong to your nervous system internally. Have very strong mantras about yourself. Work on your solar plexus, which is your empowerment center. Really learn how to empower your center to live out of your heart. And then it's really important to look around you too to say, are the people that I'm surrounding myself, can they help lift me up when I leave my internal sacred space? Can
Yeah.
they remind me of who I am? Are they not going to say, like, who is she? Am I really setting myself up for success internally and externally? I think that that is huge.
I love that. That's really great advice. Really great advice. All right. So now, living your best life.
hmm
What does it mean to you, or how do you live your best life?
It's becoming so apparent since as I age, I'm learning that I'm juggling more. Um,
Mhm.
Responsibilities are getting more real because I'm a parent and I have a business and just a lot of responsibilities. And so I am hardwired to always be in that go state,
Yeah.
always be in the go state. And that does not get me anywhere. So living my best life is reminding myself to play. It's reminding myself to rest. It's reminding myself that laughter heals, not to take
Oh,
everything so seriously. And in my line of work, I work with people who are faced with many tough obstacles and are grieving. And so my work, while I love every ounce of it, it can stay with me in an
mhm.
energetic way. So I
Yeah.
have to remember to balance that out. And while I want to always, work and serve, I have to serve myself and play. So living my best life is to laugh and play.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Levin. This is another reason why we get along so well. So many reasons why. But and besides the fact that I just love your energy and you're my spiritual advisor and we've done work together and it has been so helpful. So I will link all the links on how you can follow Julie, look at her offerings, book an intuitive life coaching, book a psychic upgrade, energetic upgrade. And there's
Mm.
so many ways to work with you, Julie. So we will link your website and also your Instagram. If you're not following Julie on Instagram, click the link below. What is your Instagram handle, though verbally?
Julie Kraus Spirit.
Julie Kraus Spirit. Fabulous Instagram, always sharing such really uplifting, heart-opening messages. I love your Instagram. I love your messaging. So follow Julie. And so now we're leaving our audience with a dare, something
Mm.
for them to do, to consider. And it could be something we already said, or it could be something new. Does something come to mind?
I dare you to ask yourself to sit in a space that feels really sacred to you, whether it's out with the sun hitting your face or in your bed where you're really cozy. Put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Take a deep breath and say, am I happy?
Mhm.
I dare you to ask yourself that. Am I happy? And see if you cry, see if you smile, see if you tighten up, and then just say hi to that emotion. Say, I'd like to get to know you more because that immediate answer is going to tell you more about yourself. The next dare, if I can say this,
Yes, of course.
is to really act on the answer that you get.
Okay.
Act on it.
Well, and when you say, and I want to go a little deeper in that. So you're gonna, am I happy? Sit with what, pay attention, and act on the answers to that. What does acting on the answers to that, what could that be?
So if you ask yourself, am I happy? And you immediately start crying and you feel like there's a void and you're so sad, and you open your eyes and you look around and you're saying, I'm alone, or I just dislike
Maybe
my environment, whatever the first thing that comes to you. If you say, I'm alone, then act on that. Try to find people that feel good to you, build a community, or tell your friends and family members that you're looking to date, whatever it is, but act on it to listen to your heart and your authenticity to every day, one small step, bring yourself back into the right direction.
I love that. I love that. You're really saying really get curious. Don't just sit there and ask the question and know how you feel, but really get curious about it
Mhm.
and take steps towards supporting yourself in a good way. Well, I love that. That's a really powerful dare. Oh, this is a good dare. All right, everybody. So that's a wrap. And I just love sitting. I don't want to end because I love sitting in the Zoom room with you. I love seeing you in person. Lucky me, I live near you, so I get to see you in person at times. But I really thank you for being part of Dare On with Jodi. I know there's a lot of women out there that have secret dreams. And, as another guest on my show and somebody who's been a mentor to me, Sheldon Bartlett Rumor from This Is It TV network, she always says, scream your dream. Scream
Ooh.
your dream. She says, no longer should women whisper their wishes. They should scream their dreams. So scream your dream, open up your heart. And thank you, Julie Kraus, spiritual advisor, for being here.
Well, thank you, Jody. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
They're on. So, what's the dream you've been carrying? The one you keep tucked away? Not because it isn't real, but because it is. Because saying it out loud means owning it. And that can feel, well, terrifying. But if Julie's story taught us anything today, it's this: your dream deserves daylight. You don't have to hide it, you don't have to justify it, and you definitely don't have to chase it alone. This is exactly why I created the Dare On Circle, a private membership community where midlife women like you can awaken to what's next. It's a space to get clear on your dreams, connect with women who truly get it, and start living from a place of purpose and possibility. Our first cohort kicks off in April with Awaken, the first phase of the Dare journey. Because before you chase what's next, you have to remember what you truly want. The link to join is waiting in the show notes. I'm already inside, and I'd love to welcome you there. Until next time, stop hiding, start daring. Dare on.